Hi, I want to talk about some of my experience with going through my recovery with complex PTSD and extensive trauma. One of the things is in the beginning, I had no idea how I felt. Absolutely no freaking idea. And what I've been learning is that I do know how I feel a lot of the time. Some of it's anger. It's a trigger, but it's anger. And as I'm working through and doing like EMDR and stuff like that, it's really been helpful. I mean, the EMDR is amazing. Like just to be able to, tap into the memories and the trauma, it goes straight to it. It's not like talk therapy where you do a lot of talking and then you talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And eventually you kind of get to the place and the therapist is like, oh, well, yeah, I think this is, anyway, it doesn't really work that well for me. I did it for a very long time, like 20 something plus years off and on. But EMDR has been the best thing for me because it just goes straight to the trauma. And really, the therapist doesn't need to know that much about you. Like what I do is I follow this ball and it goes, I do it like virtually. But when I start following that ball, man, it's like there is so much stuff going on. And really, the most important part is like trying to be in your body because I felt so unsafe in my body for so long, not knowing what the hell was going on inside of me and in my head, And one of the things about CPTSD is that we carry a lot of stuff, resentments, fears. There's a lot of stuff that is just buried underneath. So that can come out in EMDR. That can come out through different programs and stuff like that, which has helped me. Learning how to trust another man is a really important thing for me, especially, and not depending on women so much. For that sort of support, which can get me in trouble. I'm sure a lot of men can relate with that, and even women. Yeah, I just wanted to give you guys some hope, and it is possible to recover. It just takes a lot of work. The other day, I was really fragile. I was shaky. I was pretty much a wreck, and I still took my ass to the gym. I just like dragged my butt to the gym. Was able to do a couple workouts. I could get a little overwhelmed emotionally, and what I'm learning now is how to regulate my emotions, and that means like breathing, stopping, instead of distracting myself and doing something, I'll sit and listen to what's going on inside of me. I'll pray. I'll also breathe. I'll start to breathe. And if I need to disassociate, I disassociate. And that's not a bad thing. It's just the mind's way of protecting ourselves from the memories, the overwhelming feelings, and stuff like that. So I give myself permission to do that. Before I wouldn't. The perfectionism was a horrible thing with me for decades. Another thing I want to say is when I was a kid, my stepfather was a very freaking abusive dude, like super physically, verbally. I mean, there was a lot of like psychological type stuff. And so when I was a kid, I was very skinny. I was skinny, and he used to body shame me. And he'd laugh, I'd say, well, he'd laugh at my body. And I have this kind of like, kind of a gap in my chest. And he would call it a Christmas tree chest. I felt very humiliated, very, very unsafe because the anger I had toward him was not safe. I could not show any anger toward him because that meant I was going to fucking die. Excuse my language, but going through that type of trauma, that stuff stores inside of you. And so that is what EMDR does, is it brings it up. And today I can get to a point where I can get rageful at, these people who gaslit me, abused me. I mean, just so much stuff. So to allow that rage to come out, that's part of the thing, is coming out of denial and allowing that rage to come up and expressing it in a safe place. I'm not going to be driving and, start raging at somebody. So like in therapy, that's a really safe place. Sometimes I can do it in my apartment. I've actually had to go to my neighbors and tell them my situation, like I'm going through trauma therapy. So if you hear me yelling during my virtual sessions, it's nothing crazy. I'm just expressing and getting the stuck grief and those feelings out and the memories, and that's really important. And so is grieving. Grieving is a huge thing for it. Anyway, I hope this helps. This is a longer video. If those who watch it, I really appreciate it, and I hope you really get something out of it. So that's why I'm here. It's really helpful for me, and I'm really hoping that it's helpful for you guys. So yeah, that's it.